Hi everyone, welcome to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith. This is your viewer vote video. In our last fundraiser for this season, we had a donation level that would give you a vote to help influence one or two of the games that would get picked for this season. Well, it's time to show you the different options. There's going to be two different categories, one for light games and one for medium weight games. And when you vote, you're going to pick your top two favorites from the light games and your top two favorites from the medium weight games. Your top pick in each category is going to get 2 points. And then your second pick in each category will get 1 point. I'm going to tabulate all the point values from all the votes, and the top two games won in each category. Those are the ones that will feature at some point during the season. Now, the games I've picked are ones that I think would be a good fit for the show and that I'm not currently scheduled to be featuring. And after this vote is completed and the results are announced, it's not that I'll be featuring those games right away. I have a schedule of games already sort of lined up. But when I get an opening in the gap of my schedule, I'll then pick one of those games to slot in. So this will allow me to prepare in advance and know what's coming up. To vote, just wait for an email that you'll be receiving from Watch It Played. I have the email addresses of those who donated at the voter level. When you get that email, just reply to it and put your top two picks in order from each category. I'll take care of the rest. Don't forget to check your junk folder though. The email at the latest will go out on April 15th, 2014. So if you think that you've been missed, wait until after that date to start writing me and saying, hey, where's my email? Let's start by taking a look at the lighter games, beginning with Friday. This is a solo adventure. It's for one player only. You're the character Friday, washed ashore on an island, and you have a stack of cards representing your skills and behaviors, and you're very unskilled at the beginning. But as you overcome some of those early obstacles, you'll develop Friday into hopefully a lean, mean, island-living machine to face some of those more difficult, challenging obstacles that will come as the game goes on, including some ferocious pirates. Next up, we have the game Boss Monster. In this, each player represents not the heroes in a dungeon, the boss monsters. You're going to be setting up traps and other monsters for the heroes to deal with, and you want to trap and kill the most heroes that you can to be the most ferocious monster in the dungeon. Next up, we have the civilization building game Roll Through the Ages. Each player is going to be guiding their own civilization. You're going to have to feed your people, help them avoid plagues, trade goods, develop technologies, erect fabulous monuments. The twist? You're doing it all with dice. The next game is Agricola, all creatures big and small. This is based on its much bigger brother Agricola, where you're developing an entire farm and having to feed all your people. In this one, you're just focused on the animals. You're trying to get as much livestock as possible and manage them within the small little space of your farm. The next game, Le Fantôme de l'Opéra. This game is based on the Mr. Jack series, so it shares some similarities if you're familiar with that game. But basically, it's, again, a two-player game. One player is the Phantom of the Opera, trying to just create disaster in this opera, driving away potentially the diva, who's the star of the show. The other player is the investigator, trying to figure out which one of the suspects in the game, the different characters on the board, is actually the Phantom causing all of this trouble. And finally, we have the game Escape, The Curse of the Temple. This is the biggest game here and perhaps the shortest one of all of them because it is a fixed 10-minute game. When you start the timer, the game goes for 10 minutes and you have to win before that. All the players are working together to escape the temple, but to do that they have various different tasks they have to complete. It's quite fast and furious, and that's part of the challenge, is getting everything done in a cohesive way when there's so much going on all at once. So those are all of the light games. Let me put these away and I'll get out the medium weight game options next. First up in this category, we have the cooperative superhero game, Sentinels of the Multiverse. Each player picks one of the many heroes included with the game, and then that hero has a specific deck of cards with their special abilities and powers that you can use during the game to work together to defeat the villain, who has its own deck and will be operating independently. No specific player has to control the villain, but this villain will be attacking the players and causing havoc in a particular environment, which is another deck of cards which again changes the atmosphere of the game. This environment will sometimes help and hinder both the heroes and the villain. So, Sentinels of the Multiverse. Up next, we have the classic game Pandemic. This is actually the original version, well, one of the older versions anyway, before they released the new updated standard. If this one gets picked, maybe I'll have to pick up the new version. Anyway, this is another cooperative game. All the players are going to be working together as scientists and people in the medical field, trying to stop and find cures for these 4 different diseases that are just ravaging the world. If you can't do it in time, humanity is doomed. So, a very important and noble cause. Next up, we have Flashpoint Fire Rescue. I'm recognizing a theme here. These are all cooperative. In this one, you are playing as firefighters trying to put out fires raging in a building. There's different victims that are trapped in the buildings you're trying to save, and you're trying to do all of this before either the building collapses or too many of those victims succumb to the fire. Okay, the last game in this category is not a cooperative game. This is Seasons. This is a game of dueling wizards. It's kind of a festival to show off your different talents and skills. It's a card-driven game that also has a dice element as well. You're going to have the cards in your hand, but the dice that you roll will help power these cards. So you'll have to decide which dice do I want to use, which ones do I want to leave for my opponent to use, and then of course figure out how best to use your cards in combinations that give you the best results and the most points. Well, viewer voters, that's all of the games from both categories. Just wait for my email, and then when you reply, pick your top 2 choices from both categories and have those emails to me by April 30th, 2014. I'll tabulate all the totals, and then shortly after that, I'll release a video letting everyone know which 2 games got picked. Also, on April 15th, I've been invited to join Joel Eddy at his YouTube channel, Drive Through Review. He's going to do a little interview with me, ask some questions. We're also going to play maybe a couple of games as well that you can watch and maybe learn along the way. So if that might interest you, I'm going to put a link in the description of this video that will take you to his channel. Keep an eye out there, and hopefully you'll join us. We'd love to be able to talk to you guys, get some of your thoughts as well on the different things that we discuss. But until the next episode, thanks for watching.